It all began on a quiet Sunday morning, the kind that usually passed in peace and routine. My husband, the ever-practical man I had known for over a decade, sat across from me at the kitchen table with an unfamiliar gleam in his eyes. Mischievous, almost haunted. "I have an idea," he said. I looked up from my coffee, expecting him to suggest a hike, or maybe a spontaneous weekend getaway. But what came next was so out of character, so shockingly bold, that I laughed. I thought he was joking. He wasn't. The more he spoke, the more serious he became, and I saw a determination in him that unsettled me. My instinct was to say no, to pull him back into the safety of the ordinary. But there was something in the way he described it, the thrill of the unknown, the potential for discovery, the hint that this wasn't just about adventure, but something deeper. And against every instinct, I said yes. It felt like stepping off a cliff, unsure if there was water below. We packed light, took one final look at our familiar life, and drove into the wilderness. By the time the sun began to sink below the trees, we were far from anything familiar. There was a strange tension in the air, like the wind itself was holding its breath. That's when everything shifted. We were standing on a narrow trail surrounded by dense forest when I noticed his change in demeanor. His posture stiffened, his gaze sharpened. He was scanning the woods like he was expecting something, or someone. We passed an old splintered sign, the words nearly erased by time and weather. He paused, stared at it for a long while. "What does it say?" I asked. He didn't answer, just took my hand, firmer than before, and quickened his pace. There was something he wasn't telling me. I could feel it in his silence. The deeper we walked, the more distorted the forest became. The path twisted unnaturally, and strange coincidences followed us. Rustling in the distance, flickers of movement in the trees, a chill that settled into my bones. Eventually, I stopped him. "Please," I said, my voice low. "Just tell me what's going on." He hesitated. His lips parted as if to speak. But then, a sound shattered the stillness. A branch snapping. Something moving. He pulled me off the path, crouching low behind a thick tree trunk. We held our breath as something, or someone, moved just out of sight. Minutes passed. Then, silence. "We need to go," he whispered. "No more questions." We moved quickly, deeper into the forest. And then we saw it. A clearing. At its center stood an old cabin, leaning, weathered, as though barely clinging to the earth. "I don't like this," I murmured. But he was already walking toward it, like something was pulling him in. The door creaked as he pushed it open. Inside, the air was thick with dust and the scent of something old, something wrong. Then, from the darkness, a shadow moved. We froze. The figure that emerged wasn't just a stranger. It was someone my husband knew, someone from a chapter of his life I thought he had closed long ago. Their voice echoed through the cabin like a curse. "I warned you." My husband's grip on my hand tightened. His voice cracked. "You said it was gone. You said we'd be safe if we didn't come back." I turned to him, stunned. "What are you talking about?" But before he could answer, the figure stepped forward, fury etched into every line of their face. "You made a choice, and now it's too late." The door slammed behind us, trapping us inside. The air dropped to freezing. I could see my breath. "What choice?" I demanded, but my husband looked shattered. The figure pulled something from their coat, a small, weathered envelope. "This is what you wanted so badly, isn't it?" They held it out. But just as my husband reached for it, a gust of wind exploded through the cabin, knocking it from their hand. The envelope skidded across the floor and landed at my feet. I picked it up, my fingers trembling, and tore it open. Inside was a photograph. Old. Faded. It was of us, my husband and me, standing in front of a house I'd never seen. But there was a date written on the back. Not from the past, from the future. My husband stared at it, his eyes wide with realization. This is what I was trying to protect. His voice broke. Years ago, I made a deal. I thought I could change our fate, guarantee a future for us, but I didn't know the price. The figure softened for the first time. You were never meant to run from this. You just had to face what you chose. Then they stepped back into the darkness and disappeared, leaving us alone. My husband turned to me, his face pale with guilt. I didn't tell you because I thought I could fix it myself. I thought I could save us without you knowing what it cost. I took his hand. We face it together now, I said. As we stepped outside, the night air no longer felt heavy. The sky had cleared. A sliver of moonlight guided us back to the trail. We walked in silence for a long time, the past trailing behind us like a shadow finally released. And though the forest was still dark, something inside me had shifted. Whatever choices we had made, whatever secrets he'd kept, our future was no longer dictated by fear. It was ours to shape, side by side. And maybe, just maybe, that was the real deal all along.